Big week for crypto and stocks coming up. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about everything that I'm watching this week and explain to you why in both the crypto and stock market world, the bottom could be in. I want to stress that word could is very important, but we're going to look at the charts and we're going to look at some stories here that does give us reasons to watch this week with some intent that we could see further upside coming. So if you're ready for it, let's go ahead, strap on in, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Really quickly, want to give that disclaimer though. We are not financial advisors here, so please don't use this video as financial advice. This is simply for educational and entertainment purposes only. Make sure to do your own research. Make sure to think critically for anything you want to invest this week, one way or the other. Make sure you're doing your own work. If I help you at all in this video, think through some things, that's really good, but I want to make sure and stress that we are not financial advisors. Please don't use this as financial advice. A big week coming up here. Let's talk about why that is looking that way. Starting off, of course, this week isn't going to be the week we get these numbers, but right now, according to CME, we're seeing a 99% probability we will get a rate cut next week, next Wednesday, the 29th. I misspoke on this last week. I think last week I said next week, and my dates were all off, all over the place, so I apologize. We are not going to get any FOMC this week, but the following week, Wednesday the 29th, there will be FOMC. Everything is suggesting another rate cut is coming. The question actually going to be, is it going to be 50 basis points? It's too early to say that for certain. I think that's a little bit aggressive, but for now, that's something to keep an eye on. Some other things to be aware of that's going to be coming out later this week. We got a good amount of Fed speakers. Tuesday, the Feds are going to be speaking. We'll have fixed rate, a 30-year mortgage rate coming out on Wednesday. But later on in Thursday, here we go, jobless claims will still be coming out. At least they're scheduled to come out Thursday, October 23rd, along with existing home sales. This is going to tell the Fed a lot about what to expect from the economy, what's the economy looking like right now, kind of help inform their decision on whether or not they want to cut rates. Furthermore, on Friday, we will have core inflation numbers. This was a big deal because some people thought that these data points were not going to be released. We were told by the president that we will see these numbers coming out on October 24th. So are they going to go down? Are they going to go up? Right now, you can see year over year, the expectation is that they're going to be up to 3.1%, right? Consensus, let me hide my head here real quick. If you see here, the consensus is saying inflation 3.1%, forecast 3%, previously 2.9. What does this mean? This means they're expecting inflation to be a little higher. So if we do get 3% or 2.9, or let's just pretend 2.8, 2.7, and inflation goes back down, all of a sudden, that's where you'll start to see talks of further rate cuts coming up, especially if the jobless claims the day before on Thursday are not looking good. If those have increased potentially, maybe we see a 50 basis point or more cut from the Fed. We'll kind of cover that closer to the date of that announcement, but I wanted to make sure I'm showing you guys what's going on there so you're aware this week we have some big news coming out. But the bigger thing happening right now is probably on the front of the crypto side in the charts. Bitcoin is back up above 111,000 as I'm recording this video here. Bitcoin with a nice big move here. Now, there's a couple things I told you guys I wanted to do. Number one, I did want to see a very good break above this trend line. This isn't the end of the world. This isn't guaranteed the bottom is in, but it does break the bearish structure that's been intact since back on October 9th. So we broke through that resistance level. That's a very good sign. We've gotten back above 111,000. Now, the two levels I'm watching, the two former highs that we need to break, 112,100 and right here at 116,000. As you start to turn on liquidations, you're also going to see we got some big liquidations to the upside. We kind of hypothesized last week, could we see a chasing of shorts? Because there's really not that many more longs to the downside to go after to manipulate the price and control. We really could turn our eyes to the upside. The only thing keeping me back from this, the only thing keeping me back is the fact that, remember last week we talked about the weekly sell signal, right? If you look at the oscillator, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow, that's all still intact. And that still shows us a chance to go all the way back down towards 100,000, if not down towards 92,000. But right now, we are seeing some positive signs. Heck, even on the daily chart, while it's not confirmed just yet, this is going to be something to watch the rest of this week. Can we sustain a move higher? Can we get up towards that 116? We're close to a buy signal. We got a green reversal. We have bullish momentum, and the money flow is starting to slip back to the upside. I'd want to see a little bit more confirmation on that. I want to see confirmed. Let's get 2 days of confirmed bullish money flow. It's too early to say the bottom is in just yet. I want to be very clear. I am not promising you the bottom is in, but this is a pretty gnarly looking wick to the downside here. Back on the 17th, we've had 3 sustained, or 2 definitely sustained bullish days, and today is showing us some major signs of bullish action. Even better, on the 4-hour chart, we are hitting some resistance on that smart trail, but I'm not yet seeing any sell signal on that 4-hour chart. So that's going to be something else important to watch throughout the rest of the day. Do we see a red dot of momentum or a gray dot of momentum come in with negative money flow? Then you could make the argument we probably want to cool off at least all the way back down to 106. If not, with that lower high once again below 116, could we go ahead and make that plunge towards $100,000? So that's going to be very interesting to watch on the 4-hour and daily. Do we sustain a daily buy signal? Or do we turn over right here at resistance on the 4-hour chart? And do we start to make our way back down below $107,000? What are some other coins that I'm watching this week that I think that you guys should be watching as well? Let's talk about it really quickly. XRP is going to be one of these coins. Why? Because there have been rumblings that an XRP ETF is close to being approved in the month of October. If this were to happen, we could see XRP rip back to the upside, back up towards 350, at levels we haven't actually seen since way back here in July of 2025. So that's the upside potential. What we need to do, though, is we need to get that approved. We need to start flipping into some buy signals. You can see, just like Bitcoin, we had a nice run up here, but you are a little overextended on the 4-hour chart. What's our daily chart looking like here this morning? Same thing kind of with Bitcoin. You do have a green reversal. You do have bullish momentum. You do see a little bit of money flow coming in there, but I want to see at least a couple of days sustained. And again, let's break some former lower highs. Start off. Let's just get back above 265. I think the real big one, 308. 308. When we get back above 308, I'll feel a lot better about XRP. If not, what are we looking at to the downside here with this coin? Well, you're still looking out here at a weekly sell signal. You're still seeing signs that say that we could come back and revisit back down towards 203 is a level to the downside I would be watching. If XRP does not catch the bid, if things turn south on us, watch out for that. But again, big news for XRP, as we do have suspicion, potentially, keyword potentially, the ETF could be coming out this month. Another coin that could have a big ETF this month would be Solana. And Solana, I don't even know the details of this, but there's a rumor that something big is happening tomorrow, October 21st. Maybe some of you who are more locked into the Solana ecosystem, maybe you know more about that rumor. I'm just kind of helping people understand there's a rumbling. Something big could be announced for Solana. So keep an eye on that one. Downside risk here with the weekly chart didn't technically actually ever get into a weekly sell signal. So you got to feel pretty good about the touch of the weekly smart trail, but you still have that 156 to the downside. I think there were liquidations that even went down there depending on what time frames you're looking at. Let me reaffirm this really quickly. But I remember earlier we were talking about 150, 170 for sure, but 170 already got touched. But 150 would be my downside movement for Solana. I think that would be a dream come true if it does come down all the way that far to be able to get before the next big run for Solana. But just like the others, again, if there's something big that's announced tomorrow, this thing could rip to the upside. I would be looking all the way back up towards 268 if something big and bullish happens, I'd be watching back up towards that level to be what you're watching for. Daily chart, we're not quite getting a buy signal. Again, similar to the others, though, we are seeing, actually, this one's a little more interesting. Green reversal, bullish momentum. Let's get a little more. Let's get another day or two, but that could be a daily buy signal right in there. And with Solana not necessarily having that weekly sell signal like some of the other cryptos, this could be a very good sign. Again, if news comes out tomorrow that's really, really bullish, we are on the precipice of a buy signal. It might not be a bad idea to nibble at some Solana right here at current prices because the charts are actually looking pretty good right there. Let's see. One more thing I want to take a look at. on this 4-hour chart. Yeah, the money flow is kind of slipping out on the 4-hour. So we do see some vulnerability. I'm not going to be surprised if today, with what we saw in Bitcoin and XRP, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a slip back, at least on the more micro time frames, a higher low before we make a bigger decision, more than likely tomorrow, about what the price action is going to look like the rest of the week. Last one I want to bring up here in the crypto side, Chainlink is having a little field day here today. I don't even think there's any major news necessarily. I think there's a Sergey Nazarov, the founder, he's speaking at a Federal Reserve conference next week on oracles and on real world assets. But this one, of all the bigger cryptocurrencies, it's up 10% right now as we're recording this video, back up above $19. Guess what? 4-hour buy signal for sure is in play. Daily buy signal, that's the one here. Of all the coins we're looking at, this is the one that looks the best. Green reversal, bullish momentum, and that's clearly some already positive momentum happening on that money flow. And you can see price action, especially today. Since 8 p.m. last night, Chainlink has ripped from $17.25 to over $19. Target, by the way, on the daily chart, all the way back up at $22.60 at least, if not a little bit higher. I think if we have some big breaking news, you could even go higher than that, getting back up towards 27, which of course was the highs from back here in August. But start off with that daily smart trail as your target to the upside. I do want to continue to see, can we get a buy signal coming on the weekly chart? The money flow is still technically negative, but it's working to potentially shift on that weekly chart. A daily buy signal would help a whole lot. We had that green reversal. Let's get positive money flow. Let's get a green dot on the oscillator. And all of a sudden, we have a big move to the upside of the weekly chart. Even though the smart trail's in this camp right here, I would start to look towards new cycle highs above $31 if we get that weekly buy signal in. By the way, weekly buy signals in the past, you see one right in here. Even though there's a little bit of volatility that came in play, not a bad weekly buy signal that told you to buy down at 1133 back in April. Before that, we had buy signals also coming in here. I think right in here, we had another one told you to buy around 1070. So weekly buy signals, don't sleep on them with Chainlink. They have been very lethal from the LuxAlgo indicator. So keep an eye on that one. Let's shift a little bit. Let's shift into some stocks that I think people should be watching out for this week. Let's start off with NVIDIA. And one of the biggest reasons, there's not a whole lot of news on NVIDIA other than the fact that it had a nice little drop off in price from highs here a couple of days ago. So you can see recently, you haven't had massive drop-offs, with the exception of what happened back here earlier in 2025 when there was a lot of confusion with trade wars and everything else. I don't think we're going to face the same level of scrutiny with that. I think NVIDIA is sitting in a good spot with its down. What was this down from highs over here the last couple of days? We dropped about 9% to the downside. Could be a buying opportunity if you're willing to take some chance there. You can even see on the daily chart, you do have a little bit of a bounce coming in. Yes, it's a higher low and oscillator, but positive money flow, a little bit of positivity coming in here on that daily chart. Let's check the 4-hour chart. Might be a little bit more helpful here. 4-hour buy signal coming in right now, right? So those of you who are watching this video within the first couple of hours of me watching this, 4 hours are good for about like 2 days of price analysis. Green reversal, bullish momentum, and that's positive money flow right there. What is that kind of target right now for us to the upside? At least a move back up here towards $187. After that, what happens to the upside? That's going to be a very important thing to watch. Good bounce off the daily smart trail. Very bullish right there. So another good reason to buy in this zone. But with this pullback on NVIDIA, this is still one of the most exciting stocks when it comes to chips. Chips are a big discussion right now in the news. You can buy some discounted NVIDIA right now. Wouldn't be too bad of a play. Another stock that I'm watching here this week is going to be Tesla. Again, it had its own pullback. It's starting to get a little bit of a rally here. But Tesla, they are actually going to be very interesting here because they have Q3 earnings coming in on October 22nd. So that is only here, 2 days from now. Could be very big, could be bad. If they don't come out very well, obviously that's going to be bad for Tesla, but they could end up being pretty good here. Let's take a look at what the charts are saying. It's kind of a neutral daily chart right now. We didn't quite touch back to that daily smart trail, but I think we did. Yeah, we got into some fair value gaps. On the oscillator itself, it's kind of giving us mixed signals. There really wasn't a big bubble formed here, and you did see a little bit of a sell-off. So I would still be watching. If we do start to take a turn on Tesla, I would still be watching down here towards 400. Big support at 350, right, where this big breaker block is. I would say purchases around 400 and 350 if keyword if we get down that far, would be very interesting. Of course, if those reports end up coming in very good, forget being a fall point, and forget that. I think you're starting to rip back up to new all-time highs. Of course, for Tesla, we're talking about just getting back up here towards 488 and to the upside. It does look like that's kind of where we are going. Even this more recent movement, this kind of looks right in here after an explosive move in September, just a little bit of consolidation. Do we see kind of a bull flag pattern kind of develop here where maybe we see Tesla rip to the upside upwards towards $614? Again, it will kind of hinge on what happens on, I guess that's going to be Wednesday when we do get their quarter 3 earnings report. So be watching out for that. But with Elon spending more time with Tesla, I think there's reasons to believe you could be pretty optimistic about that one going forward. Another one to keep an eye on, and some people are going to be a little bit mixed on this one. In our community, I don't know how people feel about this. Whether you use this or not, Netflix could be an interesting one to watch as well. They have Q3 earnings coming out tomorrow, October 21st, and there is some analysis going on that they could have some increase based on ad tier explosion. If you do use Netflix, I'm sure you've noticed in the last couple of months, all of a sudden you're watching a movie and an ad will pop up. Well, sucks for the viewer, but it does help add revenue to the stock altogether. And even though they've had some bad publicity, especially, I would think conservatives are kind of moving away from Netflix. The stock doesn't necessarily guarantee that bad look is going to happen. So wait till tomorrow. What I will say, this is probably less of a good look here where you do have negative momentum and negative money flow at the moment on the daily chart. If we were to make some looks at what we could see to the downside, you're going to see some support coming in here closer towards 11 almost, 1,113, 1,114 area. Watch that order block. If a big crash happens, okay, we're looking all the way down towards $831. However, to the upside, I would not be surprised. Again, kind of similar to what you saw with Netflix. Again, there's that 1,100 level right there. If we get a rip to the upside, if you have some good news, good earnings report, you do see an explosive move here on Netflix back in April. You do see a period of consolidation. This could, in fact, be another bull flag pattern that would send the price of Netflix, again, over multiple months. I'm not saying this is going to rip up and maybe even hit the end of the year, but maybe even into quarter 1. Could we see Netflix rip up to $1,823? $1,823. Watch again next couple of days. There will be earnings reports. That is all I got for you guys in this video. Make sure if you want to learn more, come check out my VIP trading group where we're talking about different stocks, different trades all the time, different cryptos. Again, this week, really going to be focusing on, can that Chainlink make that breakout? XRP, Solana, Bitcoin, even Ethereum. I didn't talk much about Ethereum in this video, but people still have reason to believe Ethereum could be about to rip. I will be telling people where I'm entering, where I'm exiting, what I'm looking at. We have live trading sessions over there every single day, along with one of the most active Discord groups you're going to find in there. And go check out right now. We have some big news coming for that group, by the way, as well. So you don't want to miss out on anything happening over there. Smash the like if you guys enjoyed the video. Hit subscribe. I'll see you guys over on the Tim Warren channel today at 3 p.m. for our live show. Adios.